portfolio is a visual expression of your career graph as an architect. It is most important document to get your foot in the door. A portfolio as a first document which is presented to the client or prospective employer can make or break a career of student, an intern or an architect. This presentation would throw some light on making of this document. So good morning all. I am Rashmi Tizare. On behalf of Training and Placement Cell of Srimati Manorama Bai Mundle College of Architecture, invite you all for a session on making of work portfolio by Dr. Supriya Nene. Dr. Supriya Nene is the principal at Marathwada Mitra Mandal College of Architecture, Pune. She has done her bachelor's in architecture from Maharaja Sayaji Rao University, Baroda, master's in architecture in computer visualization from University of Cincinnati, USA, and her PhD from CEPT University, Ahmedabad. She has more than 25 years of professional experience in USA and in India combined. She has been in academics for the last 18 years and has keen interest in computer applications and concepts of sustainable development with respect to architectural design. She is engaged in research and development and likes to project academic approach, present and share ideas regarding different aspects of architecture at various conferences and forums. She was a key person in development of postgraduate program in architecture for University of Pune in computer visualization. Writer of many publications and presenter at various national and international conferences. She has also judged international design competition for Far Eastern International Digital Architectural Design Award in 2005, 6 and 7. She has been invited on various committees for SPPU. She is a member of Faculty of Architecture for Babasaheb Technical University and on the Board of Studies of Architecture for Ajinkya D.Y. Patil University. She is also associated with CEPT University, Ahmedabad, Summer and Winter School. She is a painter and an entrepreneur and heads the operations of Global Reach Consultancy for international education as well as White Feather Design at Pune. So with that introduction, I invite Dr. Supriya Nene for conducting this session. Over to you, Supriya ma'am. Welcome to the session.
Rashmi, probably we have.
Yes. Yes. I'm not able to hear to you.
So the connection. So we have can you video call?
It seems there is some network issue at her end, so she will be joining soon in 2 minutes for the session. Hello? Okay. Welcome,
Yeah.
Supriya.
Yes, thank you.
You can take over the presentation.
I can start?
Yeah,
Okay.
I've given you an introduction.
Okay. Okay. Thanks. Can you see the presentation?
Yes.
Okay. I am facing some problems. Is it visible?
Yes.
Okay. Okay. Hello, good morning to everyone. Today we'll be talking about how to make your work portfolio. I can't see anybody, so it's kind of weird to talk to nobody, but I will try my best. Just one second. Yeah. So when you start making a portfolio, I believe the audience is of 7th semester students, 9th semester students, and some of the postgraduate students. So this will cater to all of them, but there will be specific issues which will be specifically addressed to all the 3 segments. So birth of a portfolio, when do you start making a portfolio? It is, I'm audible, right, ma'am?
Yes, very clearly.
Fine. Okay, fine. Yeah. So when do you start making a portfolio? Normally in your 4th year, say 7th or 8th semester or in between somewhere, you start making a portfolio with your all the projects that you have done so far in all the first 7 semesters, including the housing project most likely in your 7th semester. So you can start documenting all the projects, all the drawings, all the models, everything, all the walkthroughs that you have done in terms of photographs, scanned images, or AVIs, or animations, or whatever you have. Just start documenting each and everything. Make a master portfolio. Just start making a documentation of all your projects, and then you can pick and choose the best projects that you can for the portfolio that you want to be sent out for the employment. Okay, so it's not like you can only document the best work. You document everything and then you pick and choose. That becomes an easier process so that you don't miss out on anything. So there are a lot of software available for the documentation and also the presentation, which we will get into later on. So once you make the portfolio, then you have to distribute the portfolio, which through websites or emails or physically printouts or whatever formats that you choose or whatever is required. Then you distribute the portfolio, and then you get a job or admission or whatever. That's the journey of a portfolio. The key thing is at every milestone of your career, you have to document, keep updating the portfolio. So after say 7th semester, you make a portfolio. After 8th semester, you add in 8th semesters work. After 9th, you add the 9th semesters work, and so on and so forth. Generally, what is documentable is the design projects, some of the working drawing sheets, some of the BTM or building technology details, some of the maybe some of the sketches that you have done, models you have done, whatever is significant in your career milestone, you can document that. And then this is the typical journey of a portfolio. Okay, so now what happens before you start making a portfolio? What do you do before you start making a portfolio? Basically, creating an image as a sincere student or a professional and a person is very, very important. Who do you want to hire is a sincere person, right? So showing off your drawings and drafting skills is an important thing that you want to show it through the portfolio. Showing your design skills, this is, we are talking about architectural portfolio, so showing off your design skills is important. Showing your technical skills, how do you show your technical skills through the portfolio? Through detailings and kind of software you are using and listing out what you have done in which software and stuff like that. not only software skills in technical, you have to demonstrate your other technical skills such as building technology and other graphics and everything else also. Also, you have to show off your presentation skills, which is how well you compose your portfolio is very important, especially for an architectural professional, because you have to use each and every inch of your portfolio or the space that you have like A3 page. Each and every inch has to be used properly for the composition. So and then projecting confidence and leadership qualities is very important. How do you project confidence through the portfolio? How do you project leadership qualities through the portfolio is very important. Also, image as a team player, you have to demonstrate, because architecture is such a profession where a person alone cannot do anything. It has to be a team event or team project. Everything has to be everyone has to work as a team. So those skills are very important to be shown off through the portfolio. Also, your offline presence, how do people perceive you as a professional and a person, is very important. It is not showing off through the portfolio, but while you hand it over, your offline presence becomes very important, because of you need references, you need word of mouth for your job application. So offline presence, also the online presence is very important, in the sense your profiles on LinkedIn, Facebook, WhatsApp and Twitter and Instagram and your websites, blogs and all those things. When you send in your portfolio or send in your resume or a CV, people are bound to look at your online presence before they start calling you for a job interview or something like that. So your online presence also becomes very important. So once you make your portfolio, it's like you are marketing yourself as a professional. When you make a product, you have to market that product, and you yourself are a product here. So how do you market yourself? So portfolio is an ultimate visual expression of your career graph as an architect. What does that mean is you are not there to explain like how you appear for the sessional submissions. Only the sheets go as your submission. You are not there to defend. Similarly, the portfolio, when it is handed over to somebody, you are not there. It's just your personality through your portfolio which is coming out. So it's a visual expression of your career graph. And so mastery on visual language and presentation is very important. Also, the written language, whatever you write in your portfolio has to be written very, very carefully. Spelling mistakes, font sizes, readability, everything has to be taken care of very, very precisely. And then communication skills and presentation. How do you communicate? Verbal and graphic communication has to be shown off through the presentation. Okay. And then these are the visuals of the presentation. Now, how do you show off basic intelligence? That also comes out very, very prominently through the portfolio. One is information, your grades and degrees and what all you have. Then what do you do with that? If you have a job experience, say, of 2 years, and then you have joined a master's degree, or before that you have worked as an internship in somebody's office, what do you do in that office? So the analysis of that, although you are not consciously showing that off, it comes out through your portfolio. Then how do you process that information is very important. And then what are the decisions that you have taken throughout your career? This is for a longer career span, but at the same time you have to start somewhere. So you be careful about the decisions that are shown through your portfolio. And beware of plagiarism. Nothing should be copied from anywhere else. If it is copied or taken from somewhere, or it's a group project and somebody else's design you are showing off, you have to give due credit to whoever is has worked on that. So beware of plagiarism, and don't copy from anybody else. So that's how the correct marketing strategy for as a professional, I would say. So in your portfolio, now we are coming to actual making of a portfolio. What is the kind of page you want to set up? Normally, A3 landscape is a good format for an online portfolio because you are looking at a screen. In most of the cases, you are looking at a computer screen or a laptop screen. Very few will look at the tab or a mobile, but then they are all landscape formats. So A3 landscape might be a good format for you because you can fit in a lot of information in an A3 page. Also, if you need to print it out, it becomes easier in an A3 landscape format. So how many number of sheets should be there? I would say not more than 15 to 20 max for a master's degree student. For a fourth year student, maybe 15 is a good number, because nobody has patience to flip through your 40-50 pages and then unnecessary data and all that stuff. You have to be very, very careful about choosing the project and choosing the details and what all you are showing in the portfolio. So limit your sheets to 15 to maximum 20. That would include your cover page, CV and index and everything else. Okay. Yeah. So also the online portfolio, the physical or data size should not be more than 5 to 10 MB as a PDF of all A3 sheets. Single PDF of all A3 sheets should not be more than 5 to 10 MB because you need to email that portfolio to the prospective employers. So make it PDF size of not more than 10 MB. Also, it should be readable on laptop. So don't make it so small like 1 or 2 MB and all the images are pixelated and all that. It has to be readable on a laptop with good quality, but not the size should not be too much. Also, design your own template for all the sheets. So that would show off your creativity. Since you are a creative professional, taking up templates from the websites or something like that would probably kill the showcase opportunity that you have for showing off your own templates or own design of the portfolio. So color schemes and kind of graphics you use for a template should be your own. Although there are various ready templates available on lots of websites, you can just take a look at them, for the kind of variety that you get online. But then I would suggest you design your own template, but you can take a base from somewhere maybe. Although not copying it, you can see the kind of variety you have it available and then decide on what you want to do for yourself. CV page in a portfolio is again very important because sometimes you send a CV separately and a portfolio separately, which in most of the offices what happens is somebody else downloads those and misplaces one file and the portfolio goes separately or the CV goes without the portfolio. So to avoid that mess, no harm in including one CV page within your portfolio itself, which would be a good idea, so that you don't have to send in a CV separately unless and until you are asked to send a separate CV. So index and contents page in a portfolio, very important to go through the flow, although content should be the last thing first. So if you are in 8th semester, your 7th semester work should be the first project, and so on and so forth. If you have done the thesis, last thing you have done is thesis, and then and then the housing project, urban design project, whatever, then your second year or third year project would be the last project that you do. So reverse chronological order you should put in your index and similarly in the portfolio, so that they see the last project or latest work first page. Also, I would suggest that your name and contact info should be on all the sheets. So what happens in an architect's office is, say they get 500 portfolios and CVs and they have only 2 positions, something like that. So they will not go through everything. If they are working on, say, an institutional project, and then they like your institutional project, they should quickly able to find your name and contact info, so that they don't have to worry about looking for your contact on the first page or wherever it may be. It's always easier for the consumer or the prospective employer to find quickly the information that is required. Also, well-designed documentation of your projects is very important. This is all the page setup kind of requirements, because well-designed documentation on one page, I would say one project should not consume more than 2 A3 pages, and then so that within 15 to 20 pages you should be able to fit in about 5 to 7 projects, not more than that. People are not interested in one single sheet of 15-20 projects, which is doesn't say anything much about the depth of your knowledge. So this is about the page setup. We will take questions later on maybe, so you can put in your chat box if you have any questions regarding this. I will just explain everything right now and then we'll take the questions later. Yeah. So now how do you write a CV, resume, biodata? What are the differences in all these three? What is a CV? Is for generally fresh graduates or for career change or early academic positions, which is for employers from companies related to your field of study. So if you are applying for an architecture job, you are a fresh graduate, you can design your CV accordingly and apply for jobs or internships. Should not be more than 1 page in the sense that you have limited work experience. So there is not much to explain other than your degrees. So don't write, you should not be writing for each and every project, this is what we did and this is how it happened and what are the aims and objective of each project. Nobody is interested, because the same project is done by, say, 200 people. So it doesn't matter, you have done that project, how you have done is more important. So just show that in your portfolio and not in your CV. In your CV should be minimum information which is required, which is your academic achievements, scholarly potential, experience and skills. Academic achievements meaning your, say, your percentage or GPA for each semester. And then it should show the progression of your scholarly ability, which is, in the first semester you have done 50%, 7th semester you have done 70%, which is a good progression. So also your experiences, in the sense if you have done some work earlier before your internship, also some of you might have worked with somebody for 2 months, 4 months, on some project, particular project with somebody, some teacher, you have done some research or something like that. You can put in that easily. Also the skills are very important, because if you're a fresh graduate without any experience, your skill set is what they are hiring you for. So for example, your AutoCAD or Revit skills, or rendering skills, or your designing skills or sketching or photography or whatever it may be, those has to be listed out properly with the demo in your portfolio. So your essential information is your experience, technical proficiency, achievements, positions of responsibilities if you have held any. For example, you are a NASA secretary, USEC, or some college class representative, or college student council president or something like that, then you can list that. That will show off your leadership qualities. If you are a group leader in some project, you can probably list it out, provided it is of significance. Don't list out like for 2 people project you are the group leader. It will not look very good. Also your extracurricular activities you can list out, provided they are relevant to the job that you are applying for. Meaning that your sketching or photography as an extracurricular activity might be very useful for the job that you are applying for. You can list it out. Versus if you have the hobby of traveling and you are listing that I am an avid traveler, which means that you are taking your time away from the job. So if you put that in your resume and employer feels that you'll be always traveling and you will not be available for the job when required, which kind of reduces your chances of getting that job. So that's about a curriculum vitae for fresh graduates, which is what you will be writing in most cases, other than maybe some of the postgraduate students. Resume, you write, resume is the kind of document for experienced and skilled people with with more academic qualifications or preferences or something like that. The audience is generally for employers who hire for a wide variety of positions. For example, you have 5 years of project architect experience, you have done some project management, you have done something else in your career, or if you have taught, say, 2 years in some college and now you are doing masters and something like that. So you list that out. So resume is for, say, +2 or 5 years of experience. You can assume that your thing will be called a resume. So the goal is to represent the skills and experience necessary to succeed in the position from all areas. In that sense that if you are applying for a teaching job or a project manager's job or something like that, or a higher position for associate professor or something like that, you have to list out all your activities. So this length can be up to 4 pages, not more than that. And essential information may only skills and experience which are relevant to the position you are seeking are very important. Also, if you have done some research, presented papers, and done some private projects for architectural design or interior projects, or if you have done under somebody's employment, you can list all those things in your resume, which is why the length becomes more than 1 page. Whereas biodata is more like a biography of a person, which is work and life experiences. Here you can say that you are an avid traveler and love to experience various countries, or so here the personal attributes are given more focus in a biodata, such as name, age, height, weight, etc. So that skin color or something like that. Where you are applying for government job, defense job, these are again technical requirements of those jobs. Say age is should not be more than 35 years, or height should not be less than 5 feet 6 inches, something like that, for an air hostess job or something like that. So complexion has to be such and such, and then weight has to be not more than certain kgs and all that. Also, the biodata is generally used for dating or matrimony websites or something when you are uploading your profile on such websites. So those are personal traits that you want to discuss. Those are not discussed in the CV or resume. In fact, it's not mandatory even to write whether you are a male or female in your CV or resume, because again it can limit it can lead to the discrimination. So people generally avoid that. You can put a photograph of a professional looking person, but you don't have to mention anything very, very specific on that. So this is about CV, resume, and biodata. So be very careful about the words that you are using while sending it out. Purpose and focus of the portfolio. Why are you making this in the first place? Right? So most of you will be making for internship applications, which will have probably 4 years of projects and some extracurricular activities. Some of you will be making this portfolio for job application, which will have all 5 years of experience or projects, and professional work as an employee for internship or an independent. Some of you might have been taking independent projects such as a bungalow design or interior of an office or a shop or something like that. So you can do all that for the application for a job. Those are very important things. For your applications for master's program, There are two kinds. You can there's a difference between while you are applying in India or outside India. The portfolio focus might change a little bit. Also, there are two kinds of programs for master's degree. One is a taught by research program, and second is by design studio program. So it depends on where you are applying which program. Your portfolio focus will shift based on the kind of program you are applying and the place you are applying it for, and also the kind of specialization you might want to do for the master's degree. So your focus of the portfolio will change based on all those things. We can discuss more if you have any more questions on that later on. Yeah. So how do you what do you use for making a portfolio? Is PowerPoint enough for making portfolio? How do you decorate that portfolio? How do you make it look better? You know, there are a lot of software. Most popular are Adobe and Corel packages. Adobe / Corel, meaning Photoshop and PhotoPaint, are similar, but one is Adobe package and one is a Corel package. They are very similar in the kind of functions that they have or the results that you can get from. So Photoshop is very similar to PhotoPaint. Illustrator by Adobe is very similar to Corel Draw. InDesigner by Adobe is very similar to Corel Designer. So these are all available packages. These are of course the paid packages, but you can have the similar packages which are online, which are for free, which are you can download them easily and work with them. So Photoshop, PhotoPaint generally used for photo editing and color correction in your photos of your models or rendered images or something like that. So these are raster based software, which are pixel correction softwares. So, and then these are good for web graphics, UI, UX designs. Some of you might want to go to, user interface design or for masters or something like that. That's a very hot field right now for architects, for 3D graphics and gaming design, and all those things are very, very exciting for some of you right now. And that has provides very good exposure, and it uses architect's ability of 3D visualization and the walkthroughs and all very nicely. So you can make those kind of portfolios in this software. You can also make web page layouts and all using this. So this is for raster-based software of Adobe and Corel. Then you have Illustrator and Corel Draw, which are vector-based software, which are ideal for creating logos and other graphics for scalable graphics basically. So even if you scale those graphics, they will not be pixelated because they are vector-based. I hope some of you might know the difference between vector and raster. I will not get into that unless if you have confusion in that. This is ideal for typography and the writing or the web graphics or illustrations. You want to make fresh illustrations, you can make in vector, and then after everything else is done, you can turn everything into a PDF, which will be the raster. Okay. So similarly, InDesign and Designer software are for layout designs, meaning that you can put in and compose the images or text and something like brochures and business cards, and everything else is done in Designer or InDesign, which is very comfortable software for that. So text layouts and treatments of layouts and your editorial design or interactive PDF creations and all that can be done in InDesign or Designer. There are hundreds of software, but this is just the difference. So what all you need to do is first you need to correct your photographs for whatever images you have. Then you need to compose everything, and then you have to compose everything in the layout design for a page. So A3 page layout. So that has to be done. So this can be very useful. Of course, you can find out more about this maybe later. So what kind of format do you use? One is of course the printed portfolio in hard copy. Then you can have interactive portfolios with moving images, walkthroughs if you are very good. If you are applying for say UI UX design or virtual reality kind of courses and all that, you can make an interactive portfolio. You can also make the whole thing into a PDF which is email ready, and you can send it by email, or you can post such PDFs on the websites which are free of, they host your portfolios for free. There are a lot of such websites where I'll show it to you later. Or you can have your own website such as yourname.com or something like that, so that you have only your portfolio on your website. Of course, you have to have a lot of work to make it into a website. So, but you can start with a blog if you don't have too much of information. So you can have a Blogspot or something like that. With you can create your own blog and keep adding your new projects into that to begin with before you start making your own website. And then you can send those links to the employers, or you can also put your entire portfolio on Google Drive or Dropbox or something like that, and then you can send in those links. Only the danger is that if it is too big on Google Drive, it will take a lot of time for downloading, and the employers will lose interest while downloading that and probably not look at your portfolio if it is too big. So just be aware of all those issues before you start making the portfolio. Yeah. So what to include in a portfolio? What should be the flow of the portfolio? First would be the cover page, of course, and that has to be designed very carefully. Has to be able to reflect your personality and the kind of portfolio that is coming along in the next few pages. Your CV again is important, so you can have your CV and an index on one single A3 sheets if you want, or if your CV is 2 pages, then you can have one whole page for your CV, which includes your education, work experience, software skills, merit scores, degrees, years, accomplishments and positions and all that we talked about earlier. And index content should have the reverse chronological order in almost all the cases. So you don't want to put up your second year or first year work in the first page, because it will probably look better if you put the last work done first. So about 5 to 7 good relevant projects would be nice to show off. Also, projects may be included depending on the area of specialization, which is such as if you are applying for masters in landscaping, then you should put your focus on the landscaping projects or the projects which show off your landscaping skills properly. For if you are applying for urban design projects, you should show off the skills of the urban design projects more than the interior design projects. If you are applying for interior design, then you should show the interior spaces and rendering of those and detailing of those spaces more than anything else. Also, if you are applying for research project, then for a project, what all research you do, what all goes behind designing that project should be shown off properly, so that it becomes becomes relevant in that sense. Also, the professional work or internship work with due credits, position and dates is very important. If you have done some big project, housing project in your internship work, and you have just done the toilet designs or the working drawings, or just the foundation drawing or something like that, and you are showing that off as your work, which is not right. So you should always show off, always state it this way, that internship work done under architect so and so, and work done by me is say foundation drawing, something like that. So it is very clear that you are not stealing the credit from somebody else, and you are honest. Your honesty shows off in that sense. Also, extracurricular interest hobbies should be related to the sort position. If you are applying for say internship work, hobbies probably won't matter too much. If you have reading hobby or something like that, probably won't matter too much, because they are not hiring you for your reading hobby. Unless you are applying for a research position, then your reading hobby becomes very relevant. Okay, so your internship, if they are hiring you for working drawings, then maybe your photography or sketching abilities may come in handy, but not your traveling or reading, something like that. So just be careful on what you show. Even if you have those hobbies, you don't have to show everything, or you don't have to state everything in that importance. So this is all which should be included in the portfolio. And again, you don't have to waste an entire sheet saying thank you. There's no need for a thank you slide. That just ends as the last project. That's fine. Okay, now for an architectural project, how do you show off a project, or how do you document a project in the portfolio? So the project must showcase the range of abilities, such as your conceptual drawing, your sketching ability, hand rendering ability, your models that you have made so far, your computer drafting and 3D modeling, your computer renderings, composition skills, color sensibility, sensitivity of design, especially skills to prove the expertise in the sort area. Sensitivity of design meaning how sensitive you are to the climate, how sensitive you are to the universal design, and the color schemes, and the kind of spaces that you are designing and all that. So it becomes very, very important to show off all those skills in one project. So the 5 projects that you are showing, show off most of these things in one project, so that they know the depth that you go through for each and every project. So in one project you are saying conceptual, then second project you are showing the rendering, so it will probably not work that way. So no, just in one project, as far as possible, you show most of these abilities to show off the range of your creativity. Drawing essentials such as north sign in your master plans, graphic skills, very, very important. You should not be writing 1:500 under your master plan, because the scale will change depending on the size of the display that they are viewing on. If they are viewing on a mobile or a tablet or a big monitor or TV screen, your scale will change. So 1:500 or 2:250 will not make any sense. You have to show the graphic scale. Also, I have seen people putting on north sign on your sections and elevations also. Please be aware of such technical mistakes. You have to show the section lines. If you are showing section AA, that AA line has to be shown properly wherever it is. You have to show the nomenclature or color coding of spaces. So each and every space, if you are writing a name, may not be readable on the screen. So you have to maybe color code your private spaces, public spaces, stuff like that. So just make sure the passages are color coded differently, then the certain academic spaces are color coded differently, something like that. So the visibility and readability will increase of the drawing. Also, the font size and style is very important as to for the readability. So after you make your own portfolio, make a PDF and show it or see it for yourself in all kinds of formats. Are you able to see it clearly on the tab? Are you able to see it clearly on the laptop, small laptop, big laptop, something like that, so that you don't want to take any chance that somebody is watching or looking at this portfolio in a tab and it's not visible, and so you don't get a job. You don't want to take any of that chance. Also, group works need to be mentioned. in size and composition of the group and define your role is very important. So if you are saying that I worked on this NASA trophy and won the trophy, so are you alone who have won the trophy, or are you in a group of 10 people and you were one of the 10 people, or are you one of the 4 people and you were the group leader, or you were the member of the group, or whatever it may be? You have to mention that very, very clearly, because it might happen that all 4 people are applying for the same position and everybody is saying that, I won the trophy, which is not right. So all 4 will not get that job. So just be very careful of your role and the size of the group that you are defining. Also, work not designed by you has to be different. I mean, mentioned properly that, I worked on this project, say housing project, which was designed by architect so and so, my project architect, and then I did the working drawing, or I did whatever you have done, toilet details, or whatever it may be, structural drawing, or whatever it may be. Give the due credits for the the designer or the significant person, or your boss, or the firm that you are working for. It's very unlikely that you have done everything on that project. So teamwork in profession, you have to define your role and give due credits to the team members. For your academic projects and professional projects, you have to show off properly. You have to, maybe you can differentiate that academic project first and then professional projects, or in the reverse order. You have to mention which is a professional project and which is an academic project, whether it is built project or it is unbuilt professional projects. There may be some projects you have done which are not built yet, but then you can mention that this is my unbuilt professional personal project, independent project, or I have done this under employment, but this is not built yet, something like that. Your research work also needs to be mentioned that, this nothing was done on this by me, but I did the entire research. So you can mention that specifically for a research kind of position also, but you have to be very specific on that. So this is all what all goes into how to show the projects in your portfolio. Yeah, so how do you, this is for the employers actually, but then once you see this probably will be easier for you to understand what all goes into the employer's mind. So to understand the profile of the candidate, this 7Cs tool is kind of very useful, which I'm just listing out the rubrics which are your portfolios will be based on. So first one is clarity. Has to be absolute clarity in your portfolio. Should not be jumbled up that, one page is pink and second page is blue and third page is yellow and stuff like that, So it has to be consistent. The absolute clarity in readability and everything. Your composition, creativity has to be showcased very, very clearly. The content has to be very powerful. So without that, of course, your portfolio does not make sense. So content has to be very powerful, has to be consistently shown, whatever the entire 15-20 pages has to be consistent in terms of the font size and color schemes and all that stuff. Sometimes what happens is in second year you have done Arial font, and fourth year you have done some other font and something like that, and your portfolio will be different. But while you are compiling it, you can make it consistent looking portfolio. Correctness of information absolutely must, has to be there. Everything has to be correct. Okay. And then the confidence has to be showcased through that portfolio. Meaning, are you coming out as a docile person, as an arrogant person, or as a confident person will be shown through the portfolio. So meaning sometimes even if you are in 7th semester, you are taking all the credit for everything that was done, and then you come off as a very arrogant person, or you don't take credit for anything. Even if your work is done, you say that thanks to this person I could do this. It's your work, so take due credit for that as well. So you have to sound or look confident through the portfolio. Also has to be concise. You cannot have, say, 10 pages per project and it just goes on and on and on, and one section per sheet, and one sketch per sheet and everything. So it just nobody is interested in looking at 40-50 pages of your 4th year portfolio. So just be very, very concise. Even if you have 10 pages, make those 10 pages very, very concise and precisely done, so that it becomes, the impact is very, very high on that conciseness. So these are 7 things that people will judge you on. And so how we normally do is the 7 C's, and you have, suppose you have got 7 portfolios. What are the marks that you will be giving, say, out of 10 or 15 or 100 or whatever it may be? So all these portfolios will be marked based on clarity, creativity, content, consistency, correctness, confidence, and conciseness. So this, I call it a 7 C's tool, which will be very helpful for the employers or for yourself even to rate your own portfolio. So this is for your reference. If you want more, we can talk about it more later maybe. So these are some of the portfolio making and hosting websites, which are, I will show them to you. Maybe even if you do a Google search on this, you will probably see most of these, and you can go through them one by one. Most of them will offer you templates, free hosting of your portfolios, and you can see the variety of portfolios that are already hosted on these websites. And there are a lot of blogs such as 12 best website for architectural portfolios and something like that. So you can probably go through them for reference. You can probably go to issue.com, which is very popular in Indian portfolios. You can go through that and see what other people are putting up for architectural portfolios, and then try and make your own. Yeah, so this is my presentation. I will probably go through some of the websites. I will just share some of the websites now. Yeah. Yeah. These are some of the blogs that people are writing about for inspiration. Some of the websites, how do you make a portfolio, So these are some of the blogs that people have written. This is something like a build your own online portfolio website. So you can just go through this and figure out. So this is portfolio, architectural portfolio online. How these are some of the sites that are listed here. Issue.com is a popular, which will show you how to make that portfolio and what to do with that. These are some of the architectural portfolios, and so you can probably open each and every portfolio and see what all it looks like. I will not be opening any right now because you can probably check it out for yourself and then rate them based on that 7 C's tool, so that you can understand. So maybe I can just open one portfolio. Yeah, so this is architectural portfolio of Marco Farina. This is all online, so this does not create any copyright issues because it's already online. So this is how the CV first. Very, very readable in that sense. You can actually read what is written and the projects that are shown off. some of the technical details and drawings he's showing off. So software used is writing on each and every project so that you understand the software skills also from this. That's it, not more than few pages. So yeah. Let's see some of the undergraduate architecture portfolio. She is writing down the skills, experiences, professional skills, and personal skills, and interest and education. Content page. This is probably more pages than required. So we'll stop it here. And then online portfolio websites for design portfolios. You can make the portfolio using these websites, Behance and Dribbble and Color for Float and Adobe Portfolio, which is free. So these are again online portfolio websites. Archerier, again popular one. ColorLib is again a popular site for portfolio making for architects. They have some templates. You can probably look at those templates, maybe use few of that. So Ivato Market again is a hosting website for portfolios or templates, brochures, everything. Yeah. So I think I'm done here. We can probably take some questions if they have.
We do have a question.
Kindly unmute.
Nidhi,
Yes, ma'am.
can you make yourself visible and ask few questions
Yes, ma'am.
which are published? Yeah.
Good morning, ma'am.
Good morning. Yeah.
Yeah. There is a question regarding how should a portfolio or CV be for jobs or masters outside of India?
Yeah. So for masters outside India would be depending on what specialization you want to do. Again, as I said, if you want to specialize in a particular, or are you doing your masters by design for masters in architecture, in which case is it a which country you are applying to, look at the portfolios done by students of that country. Maybe Chinese portfolios will be different than Australian portfolios and something like that, so those universities will expect from you the portfolios of the similar nature. So look at those portfolios done by the students of that university and then try to make it under similar to that. Maybe put up your presentations according to that, and depending on the specialization that you applying for a research project or a master by design or masters, or what kind of master specialization you want to do. So if you are applying for construction management, then your technical skills will be very important. If you are applying for masters in design, then your design skills will be very important. You have to showcase that in your portfolio.
Thank you, ma'am.
Yeah.
The next question is, what should be the color scheme for digital portfolios?
So there is no one particular color scheme which is good or bad. It has to be appealing to the creative sensibilities. Okay, so it just I won't say that yellow is good or red is good. There is no such thing as a good color or a bad color. Even if it is a black and white, a very sensibly done portfolio will look very beautiful. So it just depends on. But don't put too many colors. Don't make like Saptarangi scheme and all that stuff. It will probably not look good in your digital portfolio. But that will not increase or decrease your size. The more color you use, the higher resolution it will be. ऐसा कुछ नहीं है. So it just depends on what looks good to you and maybe appeals to the sensibilities. That's it.
Ma'am, the next question is, how much emphasis should be given to showcasing all the plans? Should all the plans of the project be included, as it may take up multiple pages?
It is not at all required to show off all the plans. What all, even if you are doing a housing project G+50, for example, or G+ whatever, just show ground and one typical. Even if they are different kinds, just show whatever is most important, whatever shows your creativity in the plans. If you start showing each and every plan, each and every section, it will take up a lot of space, which will not fit in your two A3 sheets. So just, I would say one master plan and one floor plan would be nice. And probably one good section and one good elevation also would be nice. So you don't have to show off all the 4 elevations, all 6 sections that you have done. No. Whatever explains the design, in the sense that you are not showing, you are not going to make the design based on these drawings. These are just presentation to show off your skills. That's all. So don't show everything, just show the key plans and key section elevations. That's all. And show the process. As I said, your conceptual drawing should be shown. Then the master plan. Then if you are applying for landscaping, the emphasis on landscaping. Or if you are applying for urban design, show off your urban scale projects more than your interior design projects. You have to make sure you are. So maybe if you are applying for landscaping and urban design masters, you probably will make 2 different portfolios with 2 different emphasis on the projects. So it depends on what you are applying for.
Ma'am, we had another question. The dimensioning and the labeling in elevation and sections aren't clear enough. So is there some way we can avoid labeling? Yes. Or is there another way we can show?
Yeah. So as I said earlier, you should not be writing dimensions or floor levels or everything in the section at all. All you need to do is show one graphic scale for the whole sheet. Okay. So that graphic scale, 100,000, whatever it may be, you can easily gauge that height or dimension from the graphic scale itself. Okay. And the area names, as I said, you can have color coding in your plans or sections, whatever. So if you have double height space, you have a different kind of color wash for that, stuff like that.
Thank you so much, ma'am.
Yeah.
There's one more. How should be the application for internship? They might be asking what all are the projects or what is the emphasis on internship selection criteria.
Meaning what projects you have done? I didn't understand the question.
The application for internship.
Yes.
How should a portfolio be culminated for the internship application?
Yeah, as I said, your last semester ka work first should be the reverse chronological order, and then not more than 15 pages. So application as in your portfolio will go along with your email. So you can attach a cover page saying that, I would like to apply for an internship position for your firm. And if you're applying to a firm which is doing your interior design projects and you have done some interior work, you should emphasize on that, and provided that you are interested in the interior design kind of work. So it depends on where you are applying to, and then what all you have to finally make yourself useful for the company, so that you are essentially marketing yourself. So you have to design a product which is, you know, useful for the other people. So that's the crux of it.
Thank you, ma'am. No more, I can't find any more questions. Maybe if we wait for a minute or two, and if not, I would like Rashmi ma'am to take over.
Sure.
Thank you, Nidhi, for handling question answer session. I think let's see if there are a few more coming. No. I think
Can you
things are
please
very
switch
clear.
on your camera, Rashmi?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. I think there are no more questions and things are very clear to the students. Okay. Yeah.
Okay. That's good.
We are coming to end of the program. Now I would like to thank our guest, Dr. Supriya Madam, for such an informative session, like starting from work portfolio to CV and for physical and digital portfolios, and such in-depth knowledge of the things. Thank you, Supriya ma'am.
Yes, thank you so much. Thank you for the opportunity. Yeah.
I want to thank architect Vaijayanti Yadav for her excellent technical support. Also to architect Nehal Maheshwari for designing a beautiful poster for us. I would also like to extend my thanks to Dr. Ujjwala Chakradev Madam for giving us this opportunity to conduct such webinar. She personally wanted to join the session in person, but due to her busy schedule, she could not make it. Thank you, Ujjwala ma'am. I want to thank all my fellow teachers and staff of SMMCA. And last but not the least, our wonderful students, without whom this would not have been possible. Thank you all. With this, I declare the closure of this webinar. Have a good day. Namaskar. Thank you, ma'am.
Thank you. Thank you.